Well, finally, we have some good news to report. YouTube to reinstate accounts banned for posting quote-unquote false claims about COVID-19 and the 2020 election. That's right, everybody. YouTube has joined the growing list of social media companies that have publicly come out and said that they were forced by the Biden administration to censor users. So much for free speech. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Johnny Says So. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel on your way in. So, it's hard to overstate just how insane the years of 2020 and beyond were, but the years leading up to it as well. Now, anybody paying the slightest bit of attention will no doubt know that over the last decade or so, there's really been a concerted effort by tech companies, governments, and the legacy media to really gatekeep and censor the information that you are allowed to access and share. It's really quite insane. For example, during the 2020 election, there was the well-known story about Hunter Biden's laptop that was dismissed by pretty much everybody as Russian disinformation. And after the election, they quietly came out and said that, yeah, it's true, but you weren't allowed to talk about it. You could have your YouTube channel pulled, you could be banned from Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, all of the major tech platforms. And now, all of a sudden, people are concerned with free speech. The same people that were cheerleading the fact that you could be censored for sharing quote-unquote misinformation are now all up in arms because Jimmy Kimmel has gotten briefly canceled, and now he's back on the air. Now, it's really unbelievable what's going on and the hypocrisy behind it. So today, I want to take you down a little trip down memory lane and take a look at some of the insanity that led up to this moment. So Tom Elliott puts this out on Twitter. Remember when late-night hosts were celebrating Silicon Valley censoring Trump?
Trump has been suspended from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even Snapchat. But don't worry, Mr. President, there are still plenty of apps you do have access to. You still have Spotify to drown out the sound of millions of people cheering as you leave. Google, Apple, and Amazon removed the Parler app from their platforms. Parler is where all the right-wingers gather to post QAnon sense and misspell the word parlor. Trumpers are...
Now, what he just said there is absolutely wild. And for those who have forgotten, before Elon Musk bought Twitter, there was a time when Jack Dorsey ran the platform, and they were actually very heavy-handed with censorship, and alternative platforms such as Gab and Parler started popping up, and these were essentially just Twitter clones, right? But the difference is that their mission statement was to not censor users. And what he just said is absolutely correct. Apple and Google simultaneously pulled them from their app stores, which, in hindsight, wasn't just their decision. They were being directed by somebody.
Trumpers are complaining bitterly that they're being silenced. In fact, they won't shut up about being silenced.
And now Jimmy Kimmel won't shut up about being silenced. This clip did not age well.
Having Donald Trump off Twitter, not to mention all the other toxic racists and conspiracy theorists that have been booted off.
Oh, damn! A lifetime Twitter ban has got a sting. They took away his precious. Twitter isn't the only social media site that wants nothing to do with our president. He's also been banned or restricted from a bevy of other platforms, including Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Reddit, and even Twitch. What are you waiting for, Pornhub? It's not a coincidence, it's a consequence. I know it's hard for you to recognize it because you've never faced one before.
So there it is. There's that narrative again. It's not cancel culture, it's consequence culture. Well, now the left is finding out that it doesn't feel so good when that cuts both ways.
Lifetime ban. Trump's basically the Pete Rose of social media. Right now, Trump's phone is stuffed into a pile of rice after being drenched with tears. In addition to Twitter, Trump has been banned or restricted from Apple, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Google, Amazon, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, Twitch, Stripe, Discord, and Shopify. Trump started this year thinking he should be on Mount Rushmore. Now he can't even get on Instagram.
How have our lives changed since Trump has been banned from Twitter? Well, I thought we'd take a quick look outside and see, has the world changed since our president has been banned from Twitter? Let's just look outside and see what's going on. I like it.
Elon Musk is in the middle of purchasing Twitter. Well, today, Musk said that one of the first things he would do after the acquisition goes through is lift the permanent Twitter ban on Donald Trump. I tell you what, banning Trump was like one of the few kind of almost good things Twitter's done in like a decade. Is that Donald Trump is a scam account. It's all a scam. All of it's a scam.
Now, I'm very sorry I had to subject you to that, but that's what they call late-night quote-unquote comedy. A bunch of state propagandists with the exact same take on every single issue, and their audience just laps it up, cheering about the fact that opposing viewpoints are censored. Now, something else that I found very interesting was this old clip of YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki.
Vaccines, vaccine hesitancy, videos that cause a public health risk. Where do you want to see YouTube do better?
Well, first of all, we've taken responsibility very seriously. It's been one of my top priorities, and with regard to COVID and with regard to vaccines, that has been a top priority for us. And we have a number of different ways that we address that. So first of all, we want to make sure that if there's information that violates our policies, we came up with 10 different policies around COVID. Then if that's a violation of policies, then that's something that we'll remove. We removed over 1 million videos associated with COVID. But we also want to make sure that we're raising up information that we think that come from trusted and authoritative sources. And we've really been able to do that.
Is there any lessons, though, that you learned or lessons that you're still learning from the COVID era? Because I think a lot of people, they say YouTube's not doing enough, you know? How do you respond to that?
Who are these people that said YouTube wasn't doing enough? I'd like to know. Let me know what you think down in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, first of all, we're always learning. Just to be fair, like, we're always thinking about how can we do better. We're looking at the feedback and working with public health experts across the board. And, I think one of the big things for us is to continue to work with public health experts to understand, what are the ways that we can partner with them to get their messages across. And I really believe that is something that's really changed is the evolution of bringing creators, musicians, experts talking about public health. We never would have seen that before the pandemic. But being able to get creators and influencers to really be able to work with public health to spread those messages has been very essential.
Have you talked to the Biden administration at all about vaccine hesitancy or vaccine misinformation?
Well, we did an event actually with the Biden administration, including President Biden himself, with a number of creators, Fauci as well, and we really saw that as an opportunity to be able to help and spread that the information that was coming from the administration and coming from experts to using creators and those channels to be able to distribute authoritative, trusted information.
I wonder if there's anything that you see in, the way that anti-vaxxers behave on the platform, if there are any data or insights there that could be helpful to people understanding where they're coming from.
I mean, we try to understand what are the different ways that we can break through. So we talked about in this campaign that we did about getting back to the things that you love. We talked about, we had people that represented all different backgrounds. We had people, like one of them was actually featuring her mom, talking about like how she was thinking about it. So what we really tried to do was get not just from the
Get back to what you love. So this was the narrative that we weren't going to get back to the things that we love unless a certain percentage of the population took an experimental product. Looking back on these times, it's wild that we accepted this.
Experts, but also people that were not experts, but who were explaining like, why did they take the vaccine? Why was that relevant for them? And what was their thought process? So, and that's a place where I believe YouTube can really shine, is having experts as well as just regular creators and people give their opinions.
Yeah, right. Just a bunch of regular people sharing their experiences as to why they decided to take the vaccine. Sounds totally organic and not astroturfed at all. Definitely not a bunch of White House and World Health Organization talking points. Meanwhile, they were kicking people off the platform for sharing their very real vaccine injuries and side effects. Now let's take a look at the same story, but from the perspective of the White House. Now this is former press secretary Jen Psaki around the same time. Let's take a look.
Well, first, we are in regular touch with these social media platforms, and those engagements typically happen through members of our senior staff, but also members of our COVID-19 team. Given, as Dr. Murthy conveyed, this is a big issue of misinformation, specifically on the pandemic. In terms of actions, Alex, that we have taken, or we're working to take, I should say, from the federal government, we've increased disinformation research and tracking within the Surgeon General's office. We're flagging problematic posts for Facebook that spread disinformation. We're working with doctors and medical professionals to connect to connected medical experts who are popular with their audiences with accurate information and boost trusted content. So we're helping get trusted content out there.
Oh, okay. So when she puts it like that, I guess there's nothing wrong with that, right, guys? She was just boosting posts that had a message that they wanted to convey. Yeah, I guess censoring and removing any dissenting voices, I guess that's one way to boost your message now, isn't it? And the fact that they dismiss everything as misinformation is something that's still going on to this day. Even mainstream media's coverage of YouTube's recent decision is still full of this language. YouTube to reinstate accounts banned for posting false claims about COVID-19 and the 2020 election. Now look at this. YouTube said Tuesday it plans to reinstate some accounts that it previously banned for violating rules against repeatedly posting misinformation about COVID-19. Now, I'd like to remind you guys that the kind of stuff that they were pulling off was not just vaccine-related stuff, it was criticism of lockdowns and actual real-world data about just who is at most risk for coronavirus. They actually censored information provided by Health Canada if it wasn't in the context that they like. So now that Jimmy Kimmel has his show back after his very brief suspension, and the left all of a sudden seems to care about free speech after it started to affect them personally, can we all just come together and admit that none of this was ever a good idea? Even if you think you're doing the right thing by censoring quote-unquote misinformation, if anything over the last 5 years has taught us anything, it's that what you think is misinformation today turns out to be truth tomorrow, and you very well may be censoring the truth. So I'd like to know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think that this is the end of cancel culture and big tech censorship, or do you think the pendulum is just going to simply swing the other way now? I'd love to know your thoughts. And as always, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Johnny from Nova Scotia says thank you. Hey, Johnny from Nouvelle-Écosse, il dit merci, thank you.
Thanks to you. God bless you.
Perfect.
We're from Quebec.
Yeah, Quebec.